Is it love? Is it love? Baby, be mine. Is it love? Is it complicated? Be mine. Is it love? Is it love? Baby, be mine. Is it love? Is it complicated? Be mine. I should've never waited.
So my name is Njenje Chizu.
My name is Chimwemwe Chizu.
How we met? We met in the campus at the prayer point when both of us were praying in a certain environment.
Okay, so when I met him, I didn't know we'd end up being together because he was one of our mentors. He used to mentor us in relationships and the spiritual things, so I never had a single thought that we would one day end up together.
Well, when we met, I had no idea that she was going to be a wife to me and we were going to get married at some point. But the only strange thing was that I couldn't allow her to call me a father. You know, there was Papa, spiritual whatever, we call spiritual father. So I couldn't allow her to call me a father. She was not calling me Papa, but I was mentoring her.
We started dating after we were done with school, because we were in school for 3 years. That was, from me, I was there from 2014 to 2016. So at that time, I just, because when I was in school, there's this guy that I used to date who were in the same school as well, and he was also a man of God. So after we were done with school, like our relationship kind of ended. So at that time, I was not dating anybody. So there's a time that, after we finished school, mostly it happens like you lose contact of certain people. So I also lost contact of him. Then there's a day that he called me. He was asking me how's life and stuff like that. Then from there we started chatting, and yeah.
I don't know whether there are really feelings or not, but one thing I remember is that it looked more prophetic than the feelings. Because when we met, she was already dating someone in the campus, and after time, I began to, when I was preaching, there was a time that I was preaching because we used to be in charge of a certain fellowship, which is used to that campus fellowship. And so when I was preaching, I mentioned some sensitive issues that was happening in her life. And it was to do with the dreams, what she's been going through. So she came and said, what you were preaching is what I'm going through. So to put the story fast, after time I realized that there was a number of things that was happening around her life, and the devil had attacked her in so many ways. But after prayer, I told her the entrance of some of these issues that were affecting your life, it was through the boyfriend. And so I'm the one who actually advised her to leave this man. Now that was like a long time ago, although now she argues, sometimes she will tell you, at that time I think you are interested in me. That's why you were trying to get the guy off my life. But I strongly believe that was not true. I think it's just some of those, girl power that she loves to exercise today. But it took about 3 years after I told her to leave this guy, because the spirit had confessed that it was easier for them to get through to her because of that man. And so when the guy left, another guy came on the way, and that time we were still in school. So the guy came on the way, and when the guy came in, she came to me and said, do you think I should date this man? Now this one was like a man of God. We knew each other, and I said, he's a good man and I like him. So she dated for about, I think, was that 2 years?
Oh, yeah.
They did about a year with this guy who was a man of God, a very good guy he was. And the time that I called her, we finished school, she was still dating. So I went to where I was working out of the province. But the day that I called, I had got to ask about the relationship. And I had lost the number because we stopped talking on phone. So I had called, I just remembered, there was this person I mentored at some point. Although I was watching on Facebook, I just went, I Googled her names, and I checked on Facebook, I saw her pictures, But when I saw the pictures, I liked them. But now these were not new pictures. I was already seeing these pictures. So I liked the pictures, and I thought of calling the person. So I said, how are you? How is your relationship? It's okay. How is your boyfriend? He's fine. When did you last call? In the morning. So like everything was where they were just too present. I said, okay, when do you want to get married? That was the question I asked. When do you want to get married? She said, I would want to get married in 2018. So 2018 was my year for marriage. And I told God, if I reach beyond 30, I go to the hospital, destroy myself, and then I forget about marriage. That was my vow. And I was serious about it. So when she mentioned 2018, it was mine. I said, did you talk with your boyfriend? She said, no, we don't talk about that. I said, please find out for me. So that was how. And then when she went to find out, she discovered on her side, she told me if what she was telling me was true. She said the guy got pressured by it and said saying, no, 2018 might looks too soon. I'm ready up to 2021. I asked her if she was ready. She said yes. I said, okay, cool, then we leave it. But I just the question I asked, she came back after a month because the guy said, I'm not going to marry you. So she came back after a month crying, and she said, this guy has left. She was calling me Papa at that time. You know, did you see anything? Why did you ask me that question? Maybe you had this and that. I said, no, I didn't see anything. I just wanted to find out. So then she told me, the guy told me he's not ready for marriage because there's another girl that he loves. So when she was telling me, she was crying, she was heartbroken. And I said, I can't sympathize with you because I told you because I love you. So that's how I proposed. I actually said it the day the guy left.
Did you feel like you grabbed her from the other guy?
Not at all. Not at all. Nothing. I didn't even have any. I was not sorry to the other guy because I think most of the things were so present. Because when she responded 2018 and the guy said, I'm ready to 2021. So the way the things were alternating and how everything was going, I strongly believe that my question was inspired by the Spirit of God. And then this guy, even after that happened, he just told her, my family loves you, but I love another woman. So I was not guilty that I'm getting her from any man. Although that has been my belief up to now when I'm preaching. If you come to my church, I'm talking to the younger ladies and men. I tell them, if you see a non-believer dating a believer and you have the chance to grab him, get him.
No, at that time I didn't have any interest because the time that he had called me, like I said, we started dating after we were done with school with him. So like the time we finished school, I was with that guy for just should be a few weeks, let me say, I think 2 weeks or so. Then we started having like my challenges. So like the first time that he called me, I told him to say, no, things are fine, but I was actually lying. Like I told him things are fine and stuff like that. And then he was like, cause the time I used to talk to the guy over the marriage stuff, he would say, no, I'm not ready to settle now. Maybe after 3 years or so from now. So I was like, okay, I had that challenge. I was like, okay, for me, I want to settle in 2018. That was what I had. So like the time that he later called me and asked me about the relationship, because at first I said I'd lied to him. I said, no, things are fine. Then later when I had to confess, okay, no, actually, we've been having challenges. Like I've been noticing and having that feeling within me to say, things are not fine. Even when I try to talk to him, he would no, like my challenges here and there. So after he asked me, I told him to say I want to settle in 2018, and he was like, oh, okay. So at that time, I didn't even know to say he had interest in me. So after finally things were done with that guy, I then called him to say, okay, this is what had happened. He just texted me to say we can't go on and the relationship has to finish and stuff like that. That's how I called him. And then that's the time he told me to say, I can't sympathize with you because I have interest in you. So I was shocked because I didn't expect, like someone used to mentor me. I was like, is this really happening and stuff? So I at first I rejected that. I was like, no, I'm not interested.
It was actually the same day that she told me. And I think I should have been in Mbala. I had gone for assignment. I was with Movie TV at that time. So the very same time that she told me. When she was telling me what the problem was, like I said, for her, she thought it's maybe a prophetic question that I had asked because I was seeing something about their relationship. But little did she know that it's because I had developed interest for her. So when I was finding out and I discovered, because at first when I called her, I thought maybe this guy, she's off the guy. So when she told me everything is present, everything is okay, I forgot about it. So when now she called to say, this is what we've been going through, this is what the guy told me, and she sounded heartbroken. So I did not sympathize. That's the time that I proposed her. So she only switched off my phone. I think that's the only thing I remember because she didn't give me the answer. But she switched off the phone because I think that something was running around her mind to think whether I was joking, but I've never joked in that way. So I told her immediately when she told me about the guy. But I knew she wanted a sympathy with me and what God is saying. But I told her I'm a wrong person because I'm an interested party.
Okay, so like after about a week, I kept on praying about it, thinking about it, and I was like, maybe I can give it a try. So at that time, we started talking now. We would talk, we would chat, like he would call. Like I think it should be 6 times in a day. Okay, so like
which I stopped.
So like we would chat a lot. Sometimes we'd even end up sleeping at 04. And that's the truth. I'm not joking about that. Yeah, so we started chatting and then I said, okay, no, let me give myself this chance. Then after a week, the same guy came back, started calling me to say, no, I think we need to sit down and break up properly, like in person, because we just spoke on phone. Then he told me, no, you don't have to go there. So at that time, I was staying at my auntie's place, but I had received my deployment letter of going to Namala. So we were talking, chatting, like, and then I told him to say, for me to prove that you are serious, you have to come to Namala, and then you propose to me now in person, and I'll know that you're serious. And you used to stay, you are working from Kasama.
Yeah.
I was working from Kasam. So I wanted to see that this guy is really serious. So to my surprise, after a few days, I just saw he called me, no, I'm at the hospital. And then that's how I went to meet him, then we talked, and that's how he proposed now. That's when I accepted physically now.
What I did is I found out because we had, I kept on asking her when I was planning to engage her. So I kept on asking the size of the finger. I was just talking about it because what I did is when we were dating, I had already mentioned marriage. Because when I approached her, I didn't say, no, let's be friends or let's be dating. I talked about marriage already. So we were free to talk about anything. We can talk about marriage, engagement, weddings. So I started asking the size of the finger. At some point, I think we passed through Sten. Is that Sten in the shop?
Yes,
At Levy. Just to check. Because that was the time I had it in my mind. And I think it took about maybe 2 months after. But she didn't know I was planning for an engagement. Because we faced some obstacles. Others believed you have to go to the parents, you do the tumambale and everything, then you go put the ring. I said, then that's not a surprise. That's a pretense because you obviously know that one time this guy is going to put a ring in my finger. So there was an argument, parents were involved, others were dragged in, but I ignored it. So I just went my own way because she didn't know we had organized this wonderful meeting. It was a prayer meeting and I was the one preaching. But after preaching, I remember the sermon will be the King of the Jungle. That was the sermon I preached. So after preaching, I went on and knelt before her. So she didn't expect it, she didn't know. Only about 2 friends who were fellow pastors, they had an idea of what I was planning.
I told mom what I found someone to date, and she was like, no, there's no problem because I think right now you need someone who's serious and stuff. But then when I started talking about the issue of marriage, she was like, no, I think again it's too soon. Because he started talking about marriage like just after he proposed, we started dating. I was like, no, I think this is too soon. Even if we knew each other from school, but I think we need to know each other more. So we're talking about the marriage thing. I told mom, no, this is this and that. And then mom was like, no, this. I actually asked her about how the engagement should be done. So she was like, no, the man has to come home first. We have to know him. We can't just hear about him on phone. So he has to come here, and then when they bring the insalamu, and then that's when those things can proceed. So for him, it was like, no. For me, I don't believe that's the way it should be done, because it needs to be a surprise, so long as the parents know about this and stuff like that. So that's how, that was in October. We went to a fellowship. They organized it in a big hall, and then we were asked to sit because he was the one preaching, so we sat there at the front. So that's how, after he preached, I just saw the sermon changing. I was like, what's happening here? So that's how he just came to me and knelt down, and I was like, I was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't expect it. That's how he popped the question, and I said yes. And then there was some celebration and stuff. Okay, for the dress, it wasn't a challenge. There's a shop by Levy Bon where we went, and then I had to go and fit in the dress, and then so we were together. It was like, no, I need to see it. So I was like, no, the man doesn't see the dress. It was kind of weird. The man doesn't need to see the dress. He was like, no, I have to see it because I'm your husband, and I'll be your husband, and I need to be the one to tell you to say, this is what I would love. So that's how we went there, and he saw the dress. Then for the other one, I said, no, for the other one, you're not going to see it. So he only saw one. And the other one, I had to go and look for it privately, but he had to do the payment. I just told him, send the money for this and stuff. So after our engagement that day, I had to call Mom, because the following day, that's when you travel now to Copperbelt, where I had to now reach my parents and do the payment. So Mom told me to say, so since you had already gone the other way, so you have to take off the ring first when the uncles are around and stuff. Then after they are done, that's when you put it on. So that's how all the preparations now began.
Well, I think I have a weird mind, because I was not really, my mind was focused on other things. So when I saw her, she looked beautiful, which I appreciated. I've always appreciated her beauty. I think those who are my Facebook followers, they know what I'm talking about. So when I saw her, I was not very much surprised. She forwarded pictures already. I saw pictures they were posting, this social media stuff. So I had already seen them and how she was looking. And then I had seen that dress which she wore at church, because I first saw her at church. The other one I saw at the reception. But all in all, it's the beauty with me that maybe I had never seen her that beautiful before. And on a wedding day, she looked more like prettier than she's been looking every time. But my mind was confused because I was focused on other things. Wedding, we came to learn, it's got a number of challenges, because even how when she was first presented before the church, she was, this is not what we agreed with the person who arranged this. So no, never let any pando shimbi, what? So there's no decor, because somebody called the decor guy said, no, don't put at church because they are a traditional church. So there were too many confusion that confused us. But my focus was totally different. I was thinking, I want to see what makes other people go outside marriage. That was the only thing I said, okay, now I'm marrying, she'll be my wife, but I want to see what makes other people get fed up with their wives and go out. So that's more of what I was thinking, because I've seen it like in my family. It's full of, you get married, then you have also side chicks, you get married, you have other people around. So that's what was the biggest worry for me. And I was thinking, I'm sure now I'll meet this devil that makes others go outside. So I was divided.
Oh yes, I was kind of nervous. I was nervous and excited at the same time. So yeah, that's what happened when Dad was taking me down the aisle. We went down there, I found him, and I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect in marriage, but I was like, no, I'm ready for it. I made the decision and all that, because it's another phase of life, like where you change and stuff like that. We're clocking 5 years, yes, in July.
In 2018. It's God. Because before we got married, or before I married, let me not speak on her behalf. Because I've always told her, I've loved her and I don't expect her to love me back, unfortunately. Because I told her that when you truly love, it's unconditional, just like the way God loves us. Because when you see somebody go outside marriage and they are doing all those stuff, you will always want to do what they are doing. So I've told her, I love you, and I don't expect you to love me back. But if you truly love me, it is up to you, and God will judge you for it. So we learned things that other people didn't know. Because one thing I come to realize is that many of us, just like us before, when we were dating, we thought that love is going out and flowers, taking each other out, jumping up, and all those excitement, kisses, romance. That is what was running in me. And even when I married her, like that time I was saying, I want to see that demon that makes others go outside. So I was saying, okay, I'll see, now I'm marrying my wife. So obviously I'll be meeting her in bed every day. And then I realized there's the honeymoon period. So the honeymoon period, like, you even get fed up. Like, you would not be meeting your wife every day. So I came to learn that I think love is the other side. It's more painful than the way people know it. And I came to realize there are more things to sacrifice than to laugh about. So I came to imagine I will have to hold on to her, even when I look at a woman whom my eyes might think maybe she's prettier than my wife. Because the woman will always fade out with time. These are brutal facts that I've always discussed with her time and again. If a man says you are the most beautiful woman in the world and I've only loved you, they are lying. Because you will always fade out. And there are those who have not yet have children. So I came to realize, and the biggest sacrifice that I've done is the feelings for myself. Because I can move with feelings for other women, but I will have to sacrifice them for the sake of my wife. So that when the Bible says love is a sacrifice, I strongly believe in that scripture, because that is the sacrifice that I have to do every time I meet this bleed, a colored person, or whatever. Some of them are after my money because at least I know I'm not a wow guy that should be attractive to every woman. But I know others will come because you have some little cash, others will come because of position, others will come for other reasons. But what keeps us moving, it is the sacrifice, no matter how beautiful they are. You sacrifice that beauty because you have somebody at home. And so now I came to learn that truly love is more of a sacrifice. We resolve them differently. There are times when I remain quiet. I don't talk a lot. When I see she's mad, I will just leave her. Sometimes I start smiling. There was a time I think she slapped me, my face, and she continued beating. So I was laughing. It was paining, but I don't know where the laughter came from. So I think that there has been more God than ever, because I was supposed to be upset, but I was laughing. And she only learned that out. My neck had swollen to some levels. And she said, "But what's this?" I said, "But you were from beating me." And then she was preparing food for me. She knelt down and said, "I want you to slap me back." I said, "I can't." So now she said, "Where is the problem?" I said, "That was an attack. The devil entered our house." So she gave herself, she fasted for 3 days for what she did. So sometimes it happens like that, because I know the devil will not use the person you argue with. You always use somebody who's close. So every time you'll have to identify. We always identify. We have learned that. We identify who is the problem and which one is being used by the devil here, who has brought the spirit of conflict. And when that happens, the other one who is carrying the face of God will always play a humble role. So when she's too annoyed, she's talking, I remain quiet. But when I want to show leadership, I'll speak back. And when I talk too much, she will become quiet, because she will know that I will not give up. I'm upset.
So we resolve, just like you say, differently. So for me, when I'm upset, I talk. I can talk like the whole day, I can talk. But for him, when he's upset, he likes to remain quiet. And then for me, I was like, no, we have to talk about this. We have to resolve this. And stuff like, so if he talks when he's upset, he really says things that will now hate me, and sometimes I would cry. And then just be there looking at me. So, but when he's convinced that, okay, he was wrong, you'll see, sometimes you just come, he'll bring a gift for you. Because one thing I know, men, they rarely say sorry. So you just see through his actions. He will just bring maybe something for you. But there are times when you can say, okay, I'm sorry for this and that. So that's how we resolve. Sometimes, you just I wait for him to get back in the mood, like normally. Then we'll talk about it. I was like, no, what you did this day, I didn't like it, because we're advised to say mostly when you're resolving something, avoid resolving it when you're both upset, because it doesn't work out. So wait for a day, or maybe just some other time. It can be the same day when you're both in a good mood, and then you talk about it. And actually, when I talk about it in that way, in a way like when I'm calm, he's also calm, in a loving way. But you're what's this? You're rebuking someone lovingly and in a humble way. You will tend to see a difference, other than when you're on top of your voice shouting. Mostly they just reject it and stuff like that. So I appreciate him for number one, his stance, in his spiritual stance. Yes, I really love that. His spiritual stance, encourages me in the spiritual things. When I'm low, he's there to help me, to build me up. When I have an issue like that I need to be resolved, I always go to him. Okay, this and this, what can I do about this? And he'll be there. He's very open, and I love that too. I love his openness. The times when you tell me something, like even maybe when I can get upset about it, because there are certain things like that we don't agree on. Like maybe I'm saying, no, I don't like this. Maybe like, no, but there's nothing wrong with this. So like, he's very open. Whenever there's something, he will come, we share it together. If there's a problem that he encountered at work, he will come openly tell me about this. Okay, there's this and that. We'll resolve it together. And he's loving. Yes.
The two majors, I love her loyalty. She's very, very loyal, and sometimes she's met different men, whatever, and she will still come to me and tell me what is going on. But apart from loyalty, I love her support for the ministry, because from the time, even when we had not even yet built anything, there was no any follower in the ministry, nothing. Before I even became the chairman of El Shaddai Prophetic Ministry, she was there. We could climb the mountain together. So she was very supportive of the ministry, and she's been there. I tell her, let's go out to the mountain, we'll go, and she'll be able to support. Some of the ways, well, I don't think that I've ever liked something that she'll produce. I don't like chaffings, that she knows. So when she's telling me how much she loves me, whatever, I feel like she's acting a movie. And so my face is filled with a lot of shy and discomfort. So I don't like it. I like reality. So the only thing that I've always liked her when she's talking about God. So anything she says, sometimes she will start praying. Those are the most times I've appreciated from her. Or when she's asking me questions about God. More than she's talking about, no, our marriage, this, our plan.
I love hearing lovely words. Like he said, for him, he doesn't love those much chaffing, but me, I love them. Yeah. So there are times when, he'll be telling me that, because I tell him to say, okay, this is what I love. I love this and that. So one thing I believe is love, even in marriage, there are stages. There's that excitement stage. There's another stage where you have to work on, like, you don't have to stop dating your wife or your husband. Like, you don't have to stop knowing and doing the things that they love for them. So that also plays a part. Okay, my encouragement would be the first thing, like I said, God. God changes a lot of situations. Sometimes someone may feel like they want to give up, maybe based on certain things that they are going through. But number one, they should always go back to God in prayer. Prayer changes a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things in my life moving and changing because of prayer. Even me just being with my husband, meeting him, having kids, it's all prayer and God. When you put God first, that's
The lesson that I've learned is when you meet what suits your vision and your plan, you'll never go off it. But above all, it's You know, the Bible says that God is love, and so the other way is also true. Then if God is love, then love becomes God. So if a person has got no God, they have no capacity to love in the first place. You know, we have not said this, but I will tell you that when she met me, I was proud and openly told her I've never met any woman. So that I always want to make love with a wife, and that is her. And I was looking for such a person. So when I met her, I was looking for that particular thing. I could leave people, get them and leave them based on that fact. And some people ask the question, how were you knowing they're not virgins? But that is another story for other writings. But I was able to know. And so that is one of the things that we have learned, because I never wanted to compare or be compared. And so I knew I've learned a lesson that when you meet your match, nothing will come and shake your marriage.
Okay, his birthday is in July, 31st of July.
It could be, but I know it's October.
Oh, God.
23rd, if I'm not mistaken. No, it is her big deal. It's not my big deal. I hate celebrating it.
Why?
I've never said. We grew up like that. I'm a village boy. I don't even know when my mother was born. Not even my father. I don't think she also knows. She doesn't know my mother. I only know my twin sister's birthday. So we grew up like that. So for me to switch on and start. So sometimes even children, to celebrate them becomes an issue. But for her, you find all the party and balloons kicking and going.
On that one, yeah. Because for me, I grew up in a place where dad always used to make sure a birthday he would actually buy you something. So I've grown up like that, and I always keep telling him, no, you have to change. Okay, I've seen a bit of change. Because like tomorrow is our firstborn daughter's birthday. So I've been telling him, no, I don't want you to disappoint me, please. So for me, birthdays are a very big deal, a very big deal. So we've actually sometimes been arguing over that. So I'm like, no, I grew up. I was like, you can still adapt.
Okay. I've taken. I try to adjust, but I'm looking for a spiritual reason to stop.
Well, that's what he does mostly. When he doesn't like something, he would try by all means to go in the spiritual aspect. No, this is what the Spirit says. This is what God says about it. So, my name is Chimwemwe Chizu.
My name is Njenje Chizu,
and this is how we met.